Hello and welcome to this tournament. This is my Asteroid Tournament, and it's with a relatively small budget. But since it's the first tournament in a very long while, I'm excited to get back into it, and I'm hoping it'll be exciting for all of you too. This tournament has a total of 2 sub-pools with a total of 9 competitors. It's not the greatest tournament in history, but it should have enough competitors to show you a large variety of submissions. And we also have a very important guest here to co-commentate with me. I'm giving the word to Debris.
All right, hello everyone. I'm Debris. I'll be helping out with commentating this tournament. All right, and the two sub pools, right? The top two submissions from each pool will enter the champion pool, and that will be held at the end of this. And that will be very exciting to watch because all these submissions in here are very interesting because the asteroid rule set that Alex has developed has led to some very cool submissions. Yeah, he'll talk to you a little more about what that means.
Yes, so when it comes to the asteroid rule set, the idea is that the more asteroids you add to your ship, the more points you are allowed to use. So, for the weight and the size they take, you will get some bonuses back. And you can also enhance this point bonus and other possible bonuses by using something called combos. Combos mean that you take a certain configuration and amount of asteroids and therefore get a greater point boost or some other bonuses and requirements. Due to this, every competitor effectively has their own rule set they have to follow, and this leads to a very great variety of submissions. And as such, here is the first sub-pool with a total of 5 competitors. First up, we have Gemini by Exterp7.
Our next submission is Rockweave by Nighthawk.
Then comes Rocky Rock Rock by Joyrock.
Then we have Symphony of Drone by Lyalf.
And last but not least, we have Devour by MGW. And without saying much more, let's get right into the tournament.
All right.
First up, we have Gemini by Exterp versus Rockweave by Nighthawk. This is Gemini with 2 flipped ships of the same design.
And over here, we have Rockweave by Nighthawk. These are crystal ships. They've got the main ship has 1 max scale plasma condenser and is mostly made of scale 3 crystal armor blocks that will more easily mesh with the I don't know, is it scale 9 asteroid blocks? Something
These
like that.
exact ones are 10, I believe.
Ah, all right. Yeah, cool. And yeah.
First up, we can see Nighthawk's main ship rushing right into the 2 Geminis by Exterp.
Note how his distractors are still behind his main ship.
Yes, they don't seem to be too effective in this case. The first round quickly goes to Nighthawk.
Rockwave seems to be large enough, large and fast enough, and also has enough damage per second to destroy the enemy team without needing its distractors. So I
Yes,
suppose we'll see what they'll do later.
it's a proper heavy brawler, and the win goes to Nighthawk.
All right, our next fleet. This is Rocky Rock Rock by Joyce18. So this is another crystalline submission. Unlike who is it? A Nighthawk submission. His main ship has a scale 3 plasma condenser. A little less damage per second in range, but well, still pretty dangerous. And his distractors are much more armored and actually have weapons. So so yeah. Does it
It's
have any asteroid
also,
bonuses?
yes, Joyous is using the 10 pent combo, which requires you to have 10 pentagons in a circle, and it does give a elevated bonus. So Joyous has a lot of points to work with, which you can see in the massive point differences between these two fleets.
Yeah, it should be interesting. Does
You can
Extrip have
see
the point
some
defense to deal
missiles.
with those missiles?
Not enough, it seems, but he
Yeah,
does have those
looks like
huge asteroids.
indeed, yeah. Man, plasma condensers are brutal.
Yep, a ton of DPS and a ton of range. The first
Like
round
even at this
quickly goes to
scale.
Joyous.
Joyce's ship, I think it actually looks kind of cool. I mean, it's got those little arrangements of scale 4 crystal armor on the outsides of the Pentagon. I like that.
Yeah, and it also seems to be very omnidirectional, so I don't think any flanking maneuver will work against it.
Yeah, it's a good point. Like having a spherical armor design as well, right? It just keeps the ship protected from all angles. All right, our next fleet is called Symphony of Drone by Lyalf. This is a fleet of 3 ships. It's got 2 distractors. That uses the pylon configuration. Is that correct, Alex?
Yes, the pylon configuration allows you to have 0 acceleration on the designs with the pylon, giving all the points left to a ship that doesn't have to have as much asteroids on it.
And what does that other ship have? It has drones, right?
Yep,
All right,
it's
yeah.
the Symphony
So
of
that's
Drones
interesting.
after all.
What do you think's gonna happen with this?
I believe Exterp doesn't have long range enough point defense to deal with that, and Lyoff can probably kite.
Yeah. Those distractors are gonna be really hard to make a dent in for any ship.
Yes, those aren't even distractors, those are troll ships with
Yeah.
less than 1 acceleration, so
They're just not moving. What is it? They have the immobile tag in the sandbox.
we can
Man,
see
those
the
asteroid
drones
blocks.
doing a lot of work.
It's a lot of drones for this scale.
Yep, and especially if the changes in a, well, relatively recent update, they can go through allies, making them far more effective in this case, making them invulnerable when inside the pylon ships.
Indeed, yeah, it's a good point. Ships like that can just obscure drones from the view of enemy point defense, and if the ships are that heavy, then well, nothing's gonna get in there. So it's a pretty good strategy on Lyle's part.
Red Tempests are powerful, but I don't believe powerful enough to deal with this. Just one alone.
Yeah, it doesn't look like Exterp has the damage per second to deal with the enemy fleet.
That win went to Lyle.
All right, our final submission in this pool is called, Devourer by MGW. This is a very pretty red submission. All these ships are real nice looking. The big ship especially is really funny. It's exactly at the radius maximum. And look at how it's shaped. Like that's really hard to do. So props to MGW there. What kind of asteroid bonuses does it have?
It uses the Ravager combo, which requires it to have a ton of asteroids. This is actually the only combo that allows you to go above the asteroid limit. And it makes you only have ships at maximum of 60 points. as separate from the main ship. So these are actually below 60 points at their size.
Hmm. They have like each of those distractors have like one flex thruster, right?
Yep, and I didn't know about this, but apparently they can be exploited for extra thrust, as you can see from the extra tiny thrusters. So this one actually has multiplied thrust.
Hmm.
Each one of the tiny thrusters output the full thrust of the flex thruster, apparently.
Oh wait, really? Oh,
Yep,
that's ridiculous. I did
that
not realize that either.
yes.
MGW backing it again with another exploit.
Yes, he did something similar with obsidians in my mainline tournaments, where he managed to get something made out of dense obsidian. Mind you, each of those blocks have hundreds of thousands of mass. He managed to get that to like 200 acceleration.
Just insane, dude. But yeah, let's see how this shakes out.
This is red versus red, so the odds should be somewhat even.
Oh, look at that point difference, though.
Yes, the Ravager
Yo,
combo is deadly. We can see
dude, that's a lot.
MGW even just deleting asteroids.
He, he doesn't even need his distractors either. Excerpt sadly just doesn't have the damage per second or armor to deal with a lot of the competitors, looks like.
Yes, unfortunately, Exterp didn't opt into any special combos, and as such, he lacks any sort of major bonus, giving MGW a clear win.
Man, I can't get over that MGW ship. It's pretty cool looking. Now we got Crystal and Crystal, though.
Yes, both of these should have relatively even odds, but Nightwalk
Oh,
has a more front-centered configuration.
and yeah, look at this. So, who is it? Joyous has, I think his main plasma condenser, it's bound to point defense. No, is that correct? I'm wrong. No, it's left mouse. But it's I thought it seemed to be focusing on Nighthawk's main ship for a long period of time, and notice that the larger scale plasma condenser on Nighthawk's ship is doing work because it's long range. Um, if those two ships, if Joyous and Nighthawk got into a 1v1 match, I'm pretty sure that Nighthawk would take that just because of how much larger and more dangerous that plasma condenser is.
Yes, that's actually true. Joyous has a smaller plasma condenser. It appears one of the
Where?
distractors are not doing what they are supposed to. But
Oh,
here
but this is
we
funny
have the
actually.
AIs giving up a bit.
Joyous recoiled backwards enough so that his plasma condenser stopped firing. That's really funny. Oh, that's interesting. So, Lyle, oh, Nighthawk is turning around. But look at the only thing that can hit the other ship and has hit the other ship for a long period of time now is just Joyous's missiles, and those he doesn't have very many of them, but they are dealing some damage. Ooh, but the
However,
conflict escalates.
with Joyce's no, with Nightwalk's Ravager bonus, he does also have a larger point pool to work with originally, so it takes more to deplete it.
Oh yeah, interesting. Like there's so much more armor on Nighthawk's ship, and coupled with that extra DPS, makes cutting through Joyce's asteroid hull pretty simple.
Yes, despite how huge asteroids are, I do believe they have a very low durability of 0.4, which is very low compared to farmer hull at 1. So, the asteroid pieces are large, but I think the scale 4 armor here almost has as much HP.
Yeah,
So,
like it looks like
Joyce's
Ni-
armor seems mighty and thick, but it really isn't.
yeah, like what is it? Nine like compared to some of that crystal armor, the max scale crystal armor has 30,000. Wait, sorry, 3,000 health, while the very large pentagon, so much larger than it, only has 6,000. Like that's just not that much of a. That's like not like that much health, surprisingly.
No, it's not massive, and I believe these thin um, and roses, you can see them breaking almost instantly. I believe they have around 2,000.
Yeah. Would you say that they're good for dealing with splash damage?
Oh, they definitely can be. Just think about you could actually block 2 nukes with those. So when it comes to splash, I believe they can be great. But
Yeah, that's a good
so can
point.
a lattice of crystalline armor. Um, so
Yeah, yeah. Like if we look at Nighthawk's ship, he has these arrangements of scale three scale three crystal armor in like an X, which takes up about the same amount of space as one of those large Penrose pieces. And it looks like, oh yeah, it is. That little chunk of five pieces of crystal armor is how much? It says in here in Sandbox it's 85. Sorry, 8,500 health, while the max scale block is just 3,000. So it's a lot less health for those asteroid blocks.
but at the same time, Terran armor has even higher durability, showing far too much resistance for Nighthawk to quickly get through all of that.
Yeah, that's a very large block of Terran armor for this price point, and it just doesn't like. I'm surprised he even got one of them. Light Elf is a good strategy though. The good old tank and spank.
However, his negative is that due to the pylon combo being far less point efficient, so it gives you far less points for each asteroid block, he does have a much smaller budget to work with, as you can see, roughly half.
Oh, that's a good point. That's interesting. Oh, it looks like he got a bad spawn location too. Nighthawk is approaching with his max scale plasma condenser. Will his distractors save him in time? Ooh, doesn't look like it. Is this the AI boost? Usually the distractors just switch instantly, but doesn't look like they are. Like, that's cool.
Unfortunately for Nighthawk, Leof got away, and this seems like a death trap.
Yeah. Oh, it's his distractors though. Take a look at them. Looks like Lyalf is targeting the distractors first.
One of Leof's pylons are now down.
Oh yeah. Oh, and now you can see where the drone protection thing just being inside Lyalf's armor and he's immune from Nighthawk's point defense.
Yes, with such a large block of armor, that's a lot of space to be inside. Unfortunately, the angle isn't perfect for Leof.
Yeah. Man, the drone bass is building.
The second pylon is in trouble, but so is Nighthawk as a whole.
Oh yeah. Oh, the second pylon is down.
There is potential here, as Nighthawk has far higher acceleration than the minimum required 50. I do actually believe
Yeah, looks
Nighthawk
like.
has more speed than Leolf, despite Leolf using the pylon combo.
Oh yeah, it looks like that's the case. Wow, that was
Most, li-
close.
most likely, Leolf used the pylon combo specifically for the amount of armor you could bring, rather than having a fast main ship.
Yeah. But wow, look at that. That's surprising. Symphony of Drone was taken out that time. Like, power of crystal armor, man. It's a lot of health there.
Yes, and a ton of bulk. It's not like splash helps anyway either.
Hmm. Oh, if the distractors can get in there, then it'll work out a little better. The thing with distractors, right? They generally, in my opinion, they work better when they're just a little bit faster than your main ship, especially this style of distractor. Because if they do that, then they'll go out ahead of your main ship so that they're targeted first while your main ship can dish out damage.
That is maybe unless you can make some sort of juggling arrangement where the craft somehow manage to share the damage, not taking it all at once, and giving each other a chance to regenerate.
Hmm, yeah.
But in this case, the distractors are too fragile to allow for that.
Yeah, yeah. Is there a bonus for using a one of those asteroid blocks and those distractors for who is it? For Nighthawk?
Using what? The asteroid blocks here?
Sorry, on a Nighthawk's distractors.
Oh, yes. Um, yes, there is. Nighthawk is also using the Ravager combo, and a part of it is you are allowed to have extra ships, but they can be a maximum of 60 points and have to have this exact asteroid block. And for that asteroid
Hmm.
block, you get a total of 120 points from each of the extra ships. So bringing 4 ships means 480 extra points just from that.
Hmm. Interesting.
The Ravager
Ooh, it looks like
combo is
Lyle.
maybe the combo with the most strict rules out of all of the combos.
Hmm. But that's interesting. Looks like Lyle lost that match.
Yes, it's Nightwalk's armor is weak enough to survive for that well.
Yeah, he survives for a very long time. Now this is going to be interesting because MGW has a lot of. Oh, he is too much damage per second. He cuts too fast, and
Reds
then
are
his
not supposed
distractors
to be this
are
huge.
very nice.
I think I have almost never seen a red outsize the competition, especially if it's a crystalline.
Yeah, crystals are usually up there with the biggest ships, but this time, not this time.
Also, just to note, this main ship is of course also using the Flex Thruster exploit, obviously. This is the MGW way.
He finds things to exploit, doesn't tell anyone, and then uses it, and then wins.
Yes, that's correct.
I mean, that's totally a skill. That's a he's very good at that, and yeah.
MGW has barely lost 72 points in this engagement, which is
Oh,
ridiculous considering he just took down an entire crystalline.
as red too. Like, wait, you said his distractors were 60 points only?
Maximum. I think they might be lower. But yes, this one distractor is basically his only loss.
That's really funny. He has a massive point retention.
Well, that's what you get from massive distractors.
Yeah, Blaster is best weapon.
I find the asymmetrical style very interesting on the distractors.
Yeah, they're pretty cool. Is there like an advantage to it?
Um, I'm not sure, but I guess it's a configuration that allows MGW to use the asteroid block more efficiently as armor.
Yeah, that's a good point. He puts it right to the that one point of his core, and that should, yeah, I suppose that does make it a little less. What is it? Well, a little it makes it more likely to defend against enemy attacks. And while did you see that his plasma condenser, not Lyelf, Nighthawk's plasma condenser didn't like couldn't cut through the red hole faster than the Tempest could cut through its hole. I think that's the price that you pay by putting your plasma condenser in the back. Um, I would have put it in the front, probably like in front of his first asteroid blocks, because it doesn't really seem like that point of the ship is destroyed very often, and well, you get more range that way. So he could have fired first because of the range boost it has. See how Joyce is doing it right here. His plasma condenser is in the front of his ship.
But fortunately, this plasma condenser is much smaller, so that's a major negative to the DPS.
Yeah, that's true as well.
But his distractors are also far heavier, but he does seem to lack defense compared to Nighthawk.
Yeah, his distractors do stay alive for a lot longer. It doesn't look like they're being targeted though.
Oh,
Oh, and the drones break through.
unfortunately for Joyous, he did not prepare for drones.
Yeah, like the crystals are great. Crystals have a lot of health. They've got very efficient thrusters, and they also work pretty well with these nice asteroid blocks. But their problem is that they have just no point defense that actually works. And Nighthawk, you saw Nighthawk had some point defense, but even like those, it was very difficult for it to actually do stuff to the drones. And drones move don't move very quick either. The just point defense on Crystal is just so underwhelming. And Joyce didn't even decide to put any on because there's not really much of a point.
Yes, that is quite true. Crystalline can be decent if you want to have heavy point defense, so distractors or some super strong auto drones. Other than that,
Yeah,
yes.
like I'm thinking that a good weapon to use in this situation on his distractors would be what is it called? It's called the diffractor, the plasma diffractor. That sounds like a good weapon in this like price point.
Unfortunately, it's a very short range.
Yeah, that's its main downside. In this situation, though, it just seems like it might be better fit for some ships here, but I don't know. I suppose I should have tried it myself, but yeah.
The distractors
I'll look
could have benefited from it, but you need a very expensive generator to bring it, which makes it
Yeah. Joyous doesn't have as much like he's turning around now, but it looked like he was stuck backwards for a remarkably long time. Maybe that's just because he was so close to one of Lyelf's distractors. Um, but I don't know. Yeah, troll ships, they're fun. All right, now we have it against MGW.
Reds are generally not durable against explosives.
Joyce destroys the first distractor, but MGW is already there with a huge volume of Tempest Fire. Blocked a little by debris, but not before he can destroy Joyce's main plasma condenser. And Joyce is already distracted on another target. MGW is kind of outranged. Is that true? Or is it just, I don't know.
He was for a moment there, but of course he could move closer, and that's the end.
Looks like Devourer takes that round. Pretty convincingly, too. MGW is doing a good job in this tournament.
Yes, he shows that Reds can be durable and deadly at the same
Yeah,
time.
and, like, let's do a little comparison here. So I'm going to take a look at Devourer. How much money does he spend on thrusters?
Probably very
He
little
has,
with exploits.
yeah, he has like nothing on his ship. But he just gets a huge boost in effectiveness, because well of the exploit that he has created, and
The
what
win
like
went
per
to
side,
MGW.
pretty nice win too. Right, so just from a preliminary look, he has 154p per side. Oh wait, I think I have standardized factions turned on. I can't be a good measure of this. But he has 5 flex thrusters per side, and he puts thrusters on those, and then the ship then the ship has enough acceleration to meet it. But this is a more interesting battle because now we've got the 2 fleets that have been dominant this tournament so far.
Yes, these are effectively both exploiting their own part of the rules, and as such, it's a interesting matchup. Leolf with his massive armor pylons, and MGW with his flex thrusters. We can also mention that asteroids might actually be a benefit to the defense of Reds due to their splash resistance, which Reds usually completely lack.
That's a good point, yeah. Oh, this is funny. The debris generated by Lyolf's pylon is preventing MGW from firing. But this is not a good situation because why did Lyolf decide to go into point blank range? Not a good idea, not a good idea. Huh? What? It was doing so well.
It is possible he went on to target one of the like 50-point distractors.
Yeah, I guess. Like that was really funny.
That did not turn out optimally for Lyle.
MGW has omnidirectional thrust from his flex thrusters. Makes it a lot easier to move around. Doesn't look like he has the range right now, though.
If there is any downside to the Tempest, that will be the range.
Yeah. Well, there we have it. Our first match down. Let's see if Lyolf's main ship can stay back for long enough.
If it manages to deal with the distractors quickly now, he should be safe.
Yeah. But his distractors look to be avoiding the pylons, which is a good thing for Lyolf. If the distractors stay away from the pylons, then I think, at least in that case, that one distractor is breaking out from the group and he can be picked off very quickly. And the distractors can't really do any damage to Lyolf's main ship just because they have no damage per second, pretty much. And it allows Lyolf to focus his damage per second on the more meaningful ships.
Oh, we can see MPW actually has a weakness. His core is very far in the back.
Ooh. There we have it.
That's his
recessed
singular
core.
weakness.
Yeah. Like the recessed core, like I like it in most situations when you have a big slow ship like that, because that means a lot of the time there's a lot more armor for the enemy to go through. But in the case of drones, just because they go around the entire target, it ends up being a very nice place to attack. Um, do drones encircle the core radius of a ship? I'm not
I
sure.
do
I'm
believe
not
this
sure how
is
drones.
mostly a matter of drones not having target predictance, so they don't try to move where the ship will be, and instead they move where the ship is. So when a ship is moving forwards, that ends up with them being behind.
Yeah. Yeah, look at that. Lyelf takes that one pretty convincingly. But
Despite
now we've
this
got a
being red,
bad spawn.
we can see distractors are definitely putting up a fight when it comes to withstanding the damage.
Yeah. Lyle's ship seems to be do a pretty good job of locking into a target. If you had like rockets or something, it might be a good thing. You got that one distractor, looking remarkably similar to the last match. Notice how the drones encircle the core instead of the shape of the ship. That probably makes it much more likely for drones to target the backside of ships with a recessed core. In this case, they aren't, just because he rotated, but most of the time, they will get around there. And yeah, they're just like that.
Yes, that is actually true. Things in reassembly target the cores rather than the center of mass.
Yeah. Are those drones skirmishing?
I am not sure.
They almost look like they are. The point difference between the ships isn't that great, so they're choosing to skirmish instead of kite. What is it? Is it called maneuver in the new update?
I do believe maneuver has always been there, but I think those two things might be separate.
Hmm. Boom. Lyle takes the match. Well, we've got a three-way tie, don't we? So let's take a look at what happened during that pool, right? So our three members that are going to be advancing into the next pool, the champion pool, are MGW, Nighthawk, and Lyelf. These three ships took use one. They each use a key thing to their advantage, right? Lyelf took full advantage of the pylons, putting a huge amount of health into those two distractors that cause enemy ships to take an exceedingly long amount of time destroying. And what are your thoughts on like Nighthawk's submission, Alex?
Well, yeah, effectively, it's the normal crystalline meta, very well adapted to the tournament rules of this tournament.
Yeah, I would totally agree. Just its weapon layout was pretty nice. And MGW, his submission, as MGW likes to do, he likes to take a key thing that no one else has found out about and just exploit it until he makes his ship absolutely unbearable by almost everyone else. His ship features flex thrusters, right? And by putting extra thrusters on the flex thrusters, you can get the amount of thrust. Each one of those child thrusters, I guess, on the flex thruster will have the same thrust output as the flex thruster, which is ridiculous. It's just a huge amount of thrust, and I think that allowed him to bring a lot of armor and damage per second to this tournament, and just solidifying Reds as one of the as is still viable faction in this format.
Going on to Lyle, he, in his own way, managed to exploit pylons, mainly being intended to allow you to bring a asteroidless ship to the tournament, He instead chose to see them as a way to bring massive amounts of armor, as they need no acceleration, and this way he used them both as a protective screen for his drones and as massive, almost impenetrable distractors, even hard to break for Red. So this way he managed to, well, use his combo to its full advantage and get a lot of wins.
Yeah, Lyle's submission was pretty good. I like how it looked. I also he actually put effort into how his troll ships looked. that is that generally never happens. His distractors, big blocks of armor, they actually look cool because of what he did to the front. So good job there.
And it's also important to mention that all of these competitors are very unique in all of their ways. They do not look alike at all, even despite two of them even using the same combo. They are just varied enough to be each their own. There is no clear meta between these three.
That's a good point. Yeah. It seems like all these ships had their unique niche that they all filled, which makes for a pretty interesting tournament. The champion pool will be very exciting. All right. Okay. So, welcome to the second pool. We've got 4 submissions in this pool. Starting off, we have One Gun by Lyalf.
Second up, we have Torpedo Pod by Nighthawk.
Then we've got Crystal Asteroid Flower by Owlfeathers.
And last up, we have Darkness Night by MGW.
All right, wonderful. 4 submissions. Let's see how this pool shakes out. All right, so looking at these 2 fleets, One Gun by Lyalf. We've got a Crystal Brawler and a bunch of distractors. This uses the what is it? What arrangement does it use?
This is the Ravager combo.
Oh yeah, that's right. So that it kind of reminds me of Nighthawk's submission because it's got 1 plasma condenser, max scale plasma condenser, and yeah, same combination. And yeah, the plasma condensers, right? Huge damage per second, as we saw with Nighthawk's last submission. And they just do, well, it's gonna be pretty dangerous, especially with those beefy distractors, which should resist a lot of the enemy's damage. So yeah.
Competing against Lyell, we have Nighthawk with 2 pylons and a small torpedo ship, getting energy from those. The main ship is a very small but agile kiter with, well, torpedoes for breaking the durable submissions of this tournament. And the pylons are nothing more than that, just sacrificial for the points they give.
Yeah. Unlike Lyle's pylons from his last submission, Nighthawk didn't put any more armor on them. Interesting decision.
Yes,
It looks
that
like Lyle.
does suggest a lower utilization of that combo. Even though it wasn't intended to use the pylons as troll ships, it did show up to be very effective.
Yeah. It looks like Lyle's main ship took them out pretty quick, though. That's kind of funny. Nighthawk's torpedo ship was rammed by a distractor.
Unfortunately for that distractor, the asteroid broke and a torpedo went straight down the middle to the core.
Interesting thing about Nighthawk's ship, it uses the kite flag, right? Normally, at least this tournament, I think Alex, you're actually the first tournament to use the new update, which of course does some changes to the AI flag.
Yes, the future competitors will probably have to get used to it. as it is
Yeah,
somewhat different, and some competitors have said that the behavior is altered.
yeah. I like the freedom that the AI flags give. Um, it's it's kind of nice because you just set the ship to kite, and then it will have a greater chance of staying out of range. Just another mechanism to make it all work nicely.
We can see that Nighthawk is taking a bit too much damage from that huge plasma condenser,
Ooh, yeah.
and all of those torpedoes miss.
Man, that's a bummer. Will these hit a distractor? Almost. Right, torpedoes are have a standout burst damage of all the Terran weapons. Like, for their cost, it's just a huge amount of burst damage. Like, you can see how much damage that little cluster of torpedoes does. But I mean, the other end of the spectrum is the rockets, which Nighthawk did not use. They've got a much different method to them. You have to fire. Well, they're the standard damage per second weapon, but they don't have much burst damage. So I don't know. That might be a better idea in this situation because it looks like Lyalf is regenerating before he can fire and get a hit off again. So I don't know.
That is definitely possible, and the DPS could also get through the asteroids quicker, as the asteroid pieces themselves um, are not as much affected by splash as others are.
Oh yeah, that's a good point. Also note that Lyalf's distractors, they have the standard AI flag. If they had the rush AI flag, they might have a higher chance of charging into torpedo pod.
This appears to be a bit of a stalemate, as Nighthawk can keep his range and dodge, while Lialv has the regeneration of crystalline and asteroids to stay alive despite being bombarded by torpedoes.
Yeah. Nighthawk is getting pretty consistent with those shots, but doesn't have the points to deal with Lyalf. Did I say Lyalf instead of Nighthawk? I might have. Oh yeah, Crystal Asteroid Flower, a new submission.
Yes,
By Owl. Yeah. So this is a crystalline submission. Looks like we're gonna get a lot of those this pool. But crystalline submissions, right? Efficient thrusters, is a very nice advantage that the faction has. So other things about crystalline, he used the what is that arrangement called?
the 10 pent.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, that's right. Okay, 10 pent arrangement. 10 pent arrangement. And what does that give you? What does that give you again? I always forget about that.
What the 10 pent does is give you the option to get a elevated points bonus from each asteroid piece, so for the mass. And also something special with the 10 pent is that it's the configuration possibly with the highest mass total, since pentagons are large blocks. So it gives you the chance to have a lot of mass that gives you a lot more uh, points bonus than others do.
Hmm. Interesting. Well, it looks like Owl used that to his effect. He's got a lot of mass on that chip, and it means that he has a lot of thrusters to push it. He also has
Yeah,
a lot of weapons. Like it's a sizable amount of antimatter missiles. probably to do a lot of damage.
Yes, he does have almost 900 points after all, and in this tournament, it's hard to reach 1,000, despite the Ravager achieving 1,100.
Mm-hmm. Man, you see the damage per second of that missile swarm just cutting through Lyle's distractor. But you also see the distractors doing huge amounts of damage. Well, just preventing Owl from shooting correctly. And then, of course, you also see that one gun cuts through the pentagons with instant speed.
Yes, the plasma condensers have massive damage. Asteroids can't stand a chance against it.
Yeah. How do you think you beat Lyolf? Lyolf's a pretty good set of ships.
Possibly, if you could kite, maybe missiles could work.
Yeah, that's a good point. But our next ship on in the subpool is Darkness. Well, this fleet is Darkness Nigh by MGW. This is a crystal ship. It's got, well, instead of using small scale antimatter missiles, which have a higher speed and more damage per second for their cost, he's using the large scale, which moves slower but have a longer lifetime, and have more health and do have a larger splash radius, which may be good in this situation, especially because a lot of the ships are going to be very slow. So, he also uses the 10 pent arrangement. So yeah, that's his main ship.
He does also bring a lot more armor than what Al did, giving him a much greater survivability.
Yeah. You can see that his missiles are slower. They're kind of missing the distractor they're trying to hit, but it doesn't mean they're not very dangerous because they do a lot of damage when they hit. Also, notice the angle that he put those missiles at. He put them all facing one direction, and that causes them to shoot around debris that might be in the way, which is, well, it's great.
Leolf is now being distracted by, well, the absolutely tiny distractors and taking damage all around.
Yeah, those little distractors are kind of a nightmare. Looks like he's almost got it though. His condensers keep knocking it away. Oh, well, there he goes. Now if he can turn, then he can make it. Also note how his plasma condenser can act as a point defense weapon, shooting down those missiles. But also note that because of how MGW arranged his missiles, they shoot around it, and it doesn't really matter that much. Except when the cannon is doing damage to the main ship itself. And it's doing a lot of damage.
Oh,
Oh,
MGW kind of created his own debris field inside, possibly intentionally,
yeah.
for the purpose of making the enemy not shoot, giving him the chance for the win.
Yeah. That internal arrangement of stuff in there is strange, and then yeah, that's funny. Seemed to work pretty well if that's what its intention was. MGW takes the first match.
Considering we have asteroids to work with in this tournament, maybe arrangements can be large enough to actually make a strategy like this feasible.
Mm-hmm.
Unfortunately, that is not going perfectly this time around.
Yeah. MGW's distractors are cause ships to just be distracted very well, but the problem is that they don't They stay behind the main ship. If they didn't stay behind the main ship, then they would have a much higher chance of distracting the enemy.
MGW has no more debris in the way. And that's the end of it.
Yeah. Lyle's distractors were clustered in the right arrangement and just kept the ship going. Well, kept the ship alive, kept the main ship alive. The duel of the weaponless distractors.
Leofs are obviously much larger, so they can take a lot more of a beating.
Yeah.
Despite the tiny ones from MGW managing to take some shots from the massive plasma condenser.
Yeah. Are those little distractors spinners?
I don't know.
I suppose we can do a little check. Doesn't look like they're considered spinners in the sandbox. Yeah, it doesn't look like they're spinning. Missiles would be a great thing to take out these little distractors, but Lyelf doesn't have any.
Well, unfortunately, these tiny distractors also somewhat dodge those, I believe.
Yeah.
Feathers managed to take them out, but it wasn't so instant.
Yeah, that's right. Now, Lyelf started firing at the wrong location. It seems like... Oh, wait, no, he didn't. He's actually pushing forward still, so he's keeping in line with the hole that he's created. But, oh, there's so much damage from those crystal missiles. And damaging enough that Lyelf can't fire back. Ooh, oh.
Now only the distractors remain.
And it's very hard to win a battle when you don't have any weapons.
Even though MGW has to deal with moving the entire lot of debris.
Yeah. It'd be funny if it grinded itself to death on that. And then because MGW's distractors are what? Less expensive than Lyle could take a point lead. It seems unlikely, but it looked like almost all of the asteroids were destroyed.
MGW is managing to regenerate that one asteroid a little bit though, giving him some buffer.
Yeah. This pool better not have a three-way tie.
No, that would be interesting.
Yeah. Owl being worked with all of his missiles. Doesn't look like any torpedoes are coming off of Nighthawk's main ship.
Nighthawk is not doing much.
Yeah, the ship just ends up... Like, I have kind of experiences with my own torpedo ships. Nighthawk... well, torpedo ships end up kind of tilting in the wrong direction when there's launch missiles coming their way. They prioritize dodging instead of firing the enemy. Like, they want to dodge so close to those missiles. You see how close he is? And it
Yes,
just
that
ends
the
up
missiles hit anyways.
Yeah. Missiles rebounding off the arena border could become a problem.
Well, yes, it effectively gives two sources of fire.
Yeah. The dance of missiles. Nighthawk flies around. Is he getting any shots off on Owl?
Slightly. However, the asteroid locks, as we can see in the top right corner, are standing against this damage.
Yeah. Each one of those pentagons have like almost 7,000 health.
That does give a buffer of 14 torpedoes, I believe.
Yeah. All
Feathers
right.
wins
First
the
of all,
first round.
pretty well too. If Nighthawk could get more torpedoes to hit that thing, like, boom. But right, as Alex said, the 14 torpedoes that it takes to destroy one of those blocks, and also how fast they regenerate. They regenerate like what, 7 seconds. So, ooh, nice shot though.
Feathers is now at risk of being crushed by his own missile array. If that one Penrose slots in perfectly, if Owl questions on that will be the end.
Yeah. Well, that's funny. The Megapod decided to say hi and just move into point blank range.
Oh,
And now he starts to fly away. And look, Owl just regenerates instantly. Look at how fast he regenerates.
yes, just picks up all the asteroids and fixes most of its ring in less than a second.
Wow, dude. He regenerates quick.
I guess that's one of the benefits of having massive asteroids connected together.
Yeah.
And now Owl has continuous fire rather than bursted, so dodging is even harder.
Oh, yeah. That's interesting. The regeneration pattern just makes them fire constantly. That's really funny. Nighthawk's not having a good time.
Owl Feathers is pretty much back at full power.
Quite the turnaround, dude. Like Nighthawk got a great shot off, and then just Owl decided to regenerate a little more.
It's almost like that kill shot what instead ended up being a save shot.
Yeah. Oh,
However,
but
Owl Feathers had lost most of his points by that time, as the whole array was shot away, so it appears that Nighthawk won on points.
yeah, interesting. I suppose surviving the match does have some advantage. But don't go into point blank range, little torpedo pod. Ooh, that's an opportunity right there. Oh, where the Pentagons are regenerating.
I assume the
Right.
Pentagon regenerates at maybe 1000 HP per second then.
Ooh, yeah. That is a lot, yeah. And an interesting thing about these large health blocks, destroying because it's difficult to destroy them constantly, it makes it more difficult for the enemy to regenerate. Well, sorry, it makes it easier for the target to regenerate if it has asteroid blocks because they have a larger health. And well, that just makes it so that even if Nighthawk gets some serious damage out with his torpedoes, if he destroys one of the block will just regenerate with max health again, and then all of his progress is for nothing.
Yes, that is very true, since regeneration only stops if a block is actually destroyed.
Mm.
While for something like reds, anything can prevent regeneration, but they also regenerate very quickly, of course, so a smaller chance for regeneration can be offset by that.
Yeah. He's trying to dodge, but dodging when you're a few feet from the missiles that will kill you is not a good idea.
The AI in reassembly is very risky. It just does
Yeah.
good enough rather than uh, safe than sound.
Yeah, the missiles like it's really funny.
Some of them even hit since it's close enough.
Hmm. Yeah, looks like Crystal Asteroid Flower wins that one. All right, here we go. Torpedo pod against a different kind of missile. So I'm pretty sure that the slower missiles are, the less the enemy wants, the less the target wants to evade them. And so these slow crystalline missiles make Nighthawk's ship that already didn't like to evade normal crystal missiles, sorry, small crystal missiles, even less likely to evade these ones, which is not ideal.
The pylons were left unscratched.
Yeah.
But yes, again,
And
the
there's
AI in reassembly is very good enough. So when a missile is slower, I guess it puts in less effort.
oh, but MGW has something very creative going on. Because there's more of these slow crystal missiles, the enemy ship will try to evade only like mostly the slow ones. But he's got one fast version. He's got one small scale and the rest are large scale. And that small scale missile ends up hitting a lot more often because he's trying to evade only the fast ones, or only the slow ones.
That
And
is true.
that's proper design right there.
That probably confuses the AI.
Yeah. And also the fast one comes in from a different direction. It's facing the opposite direction on MGW's ship. So it ends up being a lot different.
It's interesting to see the missile swarm from MGW being pretty much as large as Nighthawk's entire ship. The size
Yeah.
difference in these two combinations is definitely visible.
Mm-hmm.
Despite that, Nighthawk can put out a lot of devastating damage.
Yeah. Those torpedoes
However,
can be more consistent.
the points are on MGW's side, as we saw in the
Yeah.
end of the match.
Good old points. MVW just starts with so many more.
Well, that is the curse of going with the pylon combo, which does allow you to make very fast and impossible to catch up with ships, but, well, The points difference is great.
Hmm. Looks like Nighthawk was for a second there was aiming pretty accurately, pretty consistently, which is always great with a torpedo ship, because inconsistency with the torpedo ship is much more detrimental than with other weapons, because they take a long time to regenerate. If you use rockets like torpedoes are the standout Terran damage, like burst damage weapon. Like they do serious damage with one missile, with one torpedo. But the standout damage per second weapon is the rocket. It's also a directional launchable, but not only is the projectile much quicker, they fire much faster. And so if you can be more consistent with those, then it might be able to help, right? It's a difficult balance, because if you're less consistent with your torpedoes, but you manage to get a single shot off, then you're gonna do more damage than if you're still not very consistent with your rockets, because less burst damage for rockets. So I don't know, it's difficult.
Yes, burst versus high continuous is uh, hard to judge. And we also, of course, have outliers like the Red Tempest, which basically has the continuous damage of many burst weapons' peak damage. So it's kind of outside of the rule.
Yeah, that's right.
Nighthawk has taken sufficient hits to be evaporated, and therefore MGB wins that match.
Yep. But now we have a battle between the two, um, the two crystal missile submissions.
They are also both 10/10s, so very similar points.
That's right, yeah. Note how Owl has two strings of missiles of equal size. MGW has one of massive size, and that allows his torpedo, his missile array, to do a lot more damage. Even though that Owl has more I think Owl has more damage per second than MGW's ship does, and he's managing to destroy a lot more blocks. But he doesn't have the same punch because his missiles aren't as concentrated.
MGW's
missiles.
missiles also have a greater chance to hit both two asteroid blocks at the same time, rather than just one.
That's right, yeah. Well, it's always a battle. There's two kinds of missile arrangements that I like to put on my ships. You can either have a big block of them facing one direction, or you can have them spaced in a ring that fires in all directions. The ring in all directions is great for covering an area with missiles, so that fast ships don't like it, and so that you don't get destroyed by other launchables. But if you want direct damage to slow ships at at a very consistent rate, then you're gonna want the arrangement that MGW has. As you can see, right, he took out Owl pretty well there.
Of course, since these are fast regenerating asteroid blocks, they still put up quite a lot of resistance against high yield missiles like this, but at some point they have to fail.
Yep, sadly. Good old asteroids.
However, there is one particular weakness with Owl's design, and that's the fact that everything relies on the singular pentagon the core is attached to. If that one fails, that happens.
I suppose so.
Alright,
Well, very
so
nice.
this was the second sub-pool, and we ended up with MGW in the first place, and one gun by Leolf in the second place.
Yeah,
Each
both look pretty
respective
nice.
with 3 and 2 wins.
Very, very nice. So we can look a little more closely into those ships and how they did. Um, right, I Lyolf is one type of crystal ship, and MGW is the other kind. So Lyolf is great because Lyolf has direct damage per second with that plasma condenser, and that's a lot of damage per second. But MGW can has a much longer effective range, and does well. He's got splash damage. It's a lot, and I think it ended up being more effective in this format. But Lyolf's distractors seemed to behave a little better. They went more forward than MGW's distractors, which seemed to almost have like a low chance of getting into the right location. So yeah, interesting set of ships there. But I think those two ships totally deserve the win.
Yes, they both had their way to crush the competition. The elf with his deadly unstoppable cannon, MGW with his consistent and reliable damage, and also high defense, of course.
Mm-hmm.
Now, moving on to the champion pool, all of the 5 submissions that got through have shown us what they have and won in each their own ways. Now, also in the champion pool, we have another guest commentator, Laps.
Hello, yes, I'm here as well, and I'm quite excited to watch. I haven't seen any of these prior competitors, so I don't really have anything to say. So, unless you have anything else to say, Alex, let's go right into it.
Yeah, well, yeah, in general, they have all been unique. The combos have definitely shown that people have chosen different strategies,
Mm,
and it will be interesting to see how the best of the best manage to do in
yeah,
this champion
absolutely.
pool.
Let's go. Hmm.
First up, we have Lyolf and Nighthawk, two somewhat similar submissions with the same Ravager combo and the Crystalline facing off against each other.
Yeah, what is different is, of course, the gun position. Lyoff has a very dangerous gun position, whereas Nighthawk's got actually quite a safe little gun position. You know, his gun doesn't get shot off all too easily, whereas Lyoff is just in constant danger of having that thing get shot off in the first couple of minutes of getting of skirmishing.
We can see Nighthawk's distractors definitely working effectively,
Mm, absolutely, they're doing their little jobs.
but with Lyolf's thick armor, Nighthawk has still had issues getting through in time.
Mm. Even with those asteroids in the way, they don't last long enough. Nighthawk. Here we go.
With the first win going to Lyolf, Nighthawk will have to take that back, or else the victory goes to Lyolf.
Hmm.
And yes, despite the asteroids being large, they are just not durable enough to work as main armor.
Hmm. What I found quite funny is one of Nighthawk's distractors were trying to repair itself. Lyle shot the distractor, and the distractor smacked itself away with its own asteroid that it was trying to tractor onto itself. I found that quite amusing. But here we see the problem with Lyle's gun position. It's probably gonna get. Oh no, never mind. He managed to fix it. I'm just gonna retract my statement. Oh,
Well,
never
it's still
mind.
in
I take
danger.
it back. But it is still in danger because it's about to get shot off. Come on, come
Or
on,
not,
Nighthawk.
maybe?
Hmm. Ah, no, it did. Good. Yeah, and sadly, once once Lyle loses his main gun, his ship just goes bull rushing, doesn't it, Alex?
I am not sure this ram can be effective enough.
No, sadly not. He's not a sentinel. He thinks he is, but he's not. Pop. There we go. And Nighthawk is basically taken this one. The distractors can't do anything, of course, so just wait for the time to tick, the time to tick down. The temper to take it down.
However, there is debris near the core.
Ah, true. Might get a bit of chip away damage, but I don't think there's enough to kill it. There we go.
Nighthawk is
1-1.
now regenerating well away, and with a few seconds remaining, that's very likely a win to lie off.
Okay. 1-1. Let's go. Alright, you two brawlers. Let's go for it.
This time, Lyolf is the one having the clear shot from the start, but now he will likely get distracted.
Yes. Well, both of them actually surrounded in each other's distractors, so should work out nicely.
Well, Lyolf has continued to take aim on Nighthawk's main ship despite the distractors.
Nighthawk's main gun isn't firing. Oh, maybe he has power issues. It's actually possible.
It is likely due to debris placed in the way.
Ah, I see. Yes. No. Good point. Good point. What's funny is that Rockweave actually has more firepower because he has a few of those little whoa. Okay. Well, good game to Rockweave. I'm not sure what happened there, but his command set got ejected forcefully.
With that, Lyolf retains most of his points, giving him the victory.
Yeah. Was Nighthawk's command center attached frontwards into the ship, not backwards or anything else? Was it only attached frontwards?
I am not sure, but the firing towards the core wasn't equal on all sides. It wasn't directly forwards, since there was a lot of turning.
Yeah. Okay, well, Lyle's taken it. Here we go. He's taken his first victory. The poor little distractors being hunted down by the surprisingly quick Crystalline. And Lyolf takes it.
With the final victory to Lyolf, he now has a win. Now we have Lyolf versus Lyolf.
Ah, Lyolf v Lyolf. Either way, Lyolf loses, and either way, Lyolf wins.
We can see the drones not understanding how to keep range from a weaponless ship.
Yeah, they're just going for it, and unfortunately end up killing themselves in a situation where really they should not be dying at all. Well, Lyle's drones are doing well against Lyle's distractors, but Lyle's main ship is being distracted by Lyle's other distractors. By Lyle's troll ships. I have to say, I like Lyle's Terran troll ships. They look quite nice, what it's worth. Oh, he's changed targets. Probably to a better target, I must admit.
Now Lyolf's pylon has the chance to rebuild somewhat.
Somewhat, yes. The problem is, I don't think the drones could do enough damage to kill the crystalline. They can kill the little distractors, that's fine, but the big crystalline ship just has a lot of health and armor. How fast is that drone ship of Lyle's?
Barely the minimum.
Oh goodness, so he doesn't really have much chance to get away, in theory.
No,
I think.
unless the distractor falls.
Mm, true. If that distractor survives, I'm gonna be very upset. How's it still alive? It's still alive, Alex. It's just. Well, yeah. The problem is he cut such a very fine little tunnel through, and tunnel motion has to recarve it all again. No, 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 no. Beautiful. I love it. Okay, great. Oh, this is fantastic. What a brilliant distractor, Lyle. Well done.
However, one gun has retained enough points by about 60 to
Yeah,
take the win.
absolutely. This is also part of the problem with um, coming to the fight with a fleet that is more costly. In the damage taken format, is that you have an innate advantage as well, which is very nice. Um, so yeah, it's quite good. Still, he was very close to losing. Only that drone ship had just focused the command a little bit sooner. Just hadn't distractors. Such a good choice.
Well, this is one of the trade-offs by going with the pylon combo.
Absolutely.
It gives a very powerful advantage, as you might see, but you have to pay something back for it.
Mm. I wonder if those troll ships had just a little bit of turning thrust, if they would be even more effective, because they could turn and spin and end up actually soaking a lot more damage before the enemy ship managed to get through them. Love's main ship is just taking a snooze. He's just decided he's done fighting. Oh no, he saw activity going, he's like a T-Rex. Alex, he's like a T-Rex. He attacks when he sees movement.
Well, not moving around means the debris stays around longer, making
True.
the enemy AI not want to fire.
Strategic. I understand. Let's see if those drones can perhaps chisel through it a little faster. They've got a bit of a head start, maybe, compared to last time. I can't exactly remember. So, let's see what happens. Thing is, Lyov has a gun range, so hopefully the drones are going to actually just stop just meleeing themselves with the enemy ship and actually do a proper job this time. Oh, they were thinking about it. They thought about it. They thought about it.
The drones are reaching the core,
And
and
they
that's
got
the
it.
end of that ship.
Well done, Lyov. Lyov beats Lyov.
The
Yeah,
distractor does unfortunately not have enough points to give one gun the win.
absolutely. Yeah, it has to be said that drones against an enemy that has no point defense is quite a good decision. Or, I suppose, better to say, not having point defense, or even a little bit of point defense, is a bit of a bad decision.
Well, the Terran drones can output a lot of damage if they are let alone.
Precisely.
Symphony of Drones main ship is a bit close to One Gun's main ship for comfort.
Not sure what it's thinking, but apparently it's happy.
Now Lyle's main ship is taking the fire.
Yeah, he's slowly getting whittled down. Bit of a drone build-up, finally.
Unfortunately, there is much debris in the way, which kills a lot of the drones.
Hmm. It's actually quite funny how many of the drones just destroy themselves by directly bashing into the debris. Shoo. Gone. So that's quite a lot of firepower. Oh, there goes Lyle's main ship. Kapooey!
We
Okay, it
have a
wasn't what I
core
expected.
ejection, and it's gone.
Yeah, we have a core ejection. And the portal distractor gonna get picked off. And Lyolf beats Lyolf.
Now we have one gun versus Darkness Knight.
Hmm. I'm amused that Darkness Knight has a entirely left-facing missile battery.
Well, it has the benefit of not being shot down by the enemy's fire from the front.
Ah, very true, very true.
And it might also hit the
It,
enemy in a more fragile spot, like from the side.
so overall, it's a rather good decision. Ah, core dislodge, well not core dislodge, but a frontal storage dislodge, let's say.
Now we can see one of MGW's strategies with this mission, which is to generate a debris field in the front, making the enemy stop firing. Unfortunately, he has rotated too much this time, making the strategy not as effective.
Yes, he has no backup turning thrust. Once he lost those ones on the right, he just has nothing. He's a sitting duck. If he had had a few extra thrusters just to be able to turn that ship a little more, even while it had lost the front section, I think it would have been doing a lot better. It would probably have taken out the Lyle's main ship.
Lyof was close
MGW's,
to being taken out.
absolutely. MGW's little distractors are quite funny. Well, there we go. Lyle takes it.
We only have one distractor remaining.
Will 12 points beat 747 points, Alex? That is the question. The answer may surprise you. He's thinking about it. Well,
No, it actually disappeared completely.
it was evaporated from existence. Okay, let's hope MGW is a little bit better this time. For a missile ship, he likes to ram his enemies. Oh no, MGW. He's doing his little turn mistake again. Ah no, maybe he's gonna undo it. He's not doing it. What is he?
MGW's main ship functions the best directly from the front.
I do like the way that the missiles come out of MGW's ship. It's almost feels like it gives quite a nice spaced hitting, just kind of by the nature of it.
And that distractor is now in some danger.
And now the bombardment begins.
Can MGW survive this?
Ooh, what happened there?
He picked up some asteroids, and Lyle's score is... Oh! Barely.
Barely, barely.
MGW managed to take the win.
Nice. For old Lyle. Well, it's going to be 1-1. That's what we like to see. Boys are distracted.
Large crystalline missiles can definitely cause a lot of havoc versus pure armor submissions.
You can get quite a lot of them out as well. Antimatter missiles. Quite strong.
Interesting to note is also that MGW manages to win in a brawl while having 200 points or more or less.
True. Oh, very true. Oh, yes, of course, because MGW went for a Pengon rather than Ravager. Or as I like to call it, the Shatter combo.
Yes, the 10-pen combo is quite different from the Ravager combo. Only a singular distractor left.
8 points and 1 minute and 15 seconds. Oh no, good. Thank you, Lyle, for ending our suffering early. So we didn't have to watch a minute of that little distractor flying around. Okay.
Now we have Lyle versus MGW with his Devourer. Now we'll get to see if he can actually devour the enemy. With no Tempests, he likely can.
Yes.
If he does not get distracted too much.
If. Thing is, those Tempests are actually pushing the enemy away quite a little bit. The Condenser does do a lot of damage. But, oh my word. Just cuts through those distractors. In true red fashion, the Tempests do a very good job. They've got quite a respectable range.
Oh.
Only Lyle had... Oh, okay, well, that
MGW was sniped.
Yep, he was. I ended a little bit faster than I thought he was going to.
Well, he was attacked from the back. And
Yeah.
for once, the distractors didn't work as intended.
I wish you could take MGW's Devourer's front half and just wear it like a hat. Fly off could just tractor the whole front half of the Devourer onto the top of him. Just fly away with it. I would love that. That'd be great. It's like a little hat. It's great.
Yes, it does definitely have a lot of strange shapes, and the structure is very fragmented. As you can see here, the entire back fell off once the core area had been destroyed.
Absolutely. It's almost, again, like a nice ship that's trying to create a bit of a debris field, but it might just be that he's trying to make a ship that looks very red, and I think he did. It looks lovely. I love it. Gorgeous. Insanity. Even the little distractors look very nice and red. Very red aesthetic. Also, the distractor is like one little gun. Just has a little blaster. He's got a singular blaster and an anti-missile laser. So actually, not the worst. Oh, it is red, so yeah, you like 60p. You could afford that. Eh? Oh, this is riveting. They're both just staring at each other. Yeah, the debris is working actually quite nicely. Lauf just decided, no, he's just gonna sit, collect his win.
Yeah, debris can definitely be very effective in tournaments and reassembly, completely blocking enemy fire. Oh, the Devourer is now targeting. Oh, and it changed targets. MGW is in danger of being core sniped once again.
Hmm.
This is the power of distractors.
Absolutely.
Now MGW will have to turn very quickly, but I believe it's too late.
Mm. Although Lyle's main gun is in a very dangerous position, but no, he got him. And again, shatter, and now you have the back and the front half separating, and the front half again just looks like a very nice hat, a very nice kind of fancy, kind of like ceremonial hat, you know. And Lyle takes it. There we go.
This was a quick double victory.
Absolutely.
Now with the Rockweave trying to take on the Symphony of Drone, Rockweave has some slight amounts of point defense.
Which is exciting. Don't know how much it's going to do, but better than nothing.
Oh, Lyelf was in a questionable position, but then Nighthawk chose to target a pylon. An interesting part of the pylon strategy is that the point defense can't reach the drones.
Oh, interesting. Okay, well, just bought Rockweaver a bit of time to regenerate. Actually, Rockweave couldn't because he's meleeing himself into the troll ships. This is the power of troll ships. They're unbelievably useful.
Yeah, simply having a target that won't die and will take all the fire of the enemy will definitely be of large use.
And getting the enemy to ram into them, which hurts both of them, but inevitably stops the enemy from regenerating, which I think is also a pretty massive bonus. Oh, Rockweaver's dead. Gone.
The DPS of drones can definitely be very high if they accumulate fully.
Unfortunately, Crystalline doesn't really have any decent ways of dealing with drones, aside from, I suppose, point defense missiles, which they can have some decent splash and be okay. But yeah, Crystalline doesn't have any good point defense options just out of the box.
Well, the diffractor can be usable, at least against something like the red drones.
Problem is the diffractor doesn't. I'm not sure if it has proximity fuse. I don't think it if the diffractor where's my English? If the diffractor functioned, there we go, like a flak cannon, and had a bit of a bigger range, a little bit faster, then would probably do really nicely. But unfortunately, I'm pretty sure it just acts like a Terran point defense gun, and so it doesn't do amazingly in most cases.
I see, yeah, then it might be slightly useless.
Okay, let's see if Nighthawk's Distractor is actually. Oh, yes! Okay, great. Nighthawk's going to get an opportunity to repair a little bit.
Unfortunately, he mostly just repaired some asteroids. Nighthawk does not have enough defense in the back to defend against something like this for a while, and the plasma condenser is now in danger.
Yeah.
The core is now being reached.
Yeah. It's moments like this that make me miss being able to have a charge pulse laser. What's it called? Charge beam? What do the Terrans have?
The burst laser.
Burst laser, thank you, yes. Moments like this that make me wish wish for a burst laser.
Lyolf takes the win. Yes, the burst
Absolutely.
laser is definitely effective point defense against most things.
The other word I was looking for is the blast pulse, but nonetheless, we'll talk about that later. Rockweave versus Darkness Nigh. I thought for a moment that we had already seen this one, but I was thinking of Lyolf's. I was thinking of Lyolf's ship.
MGW is swiftly dealing with the distractors, while
Which is a very good,
Nighthawk is not being distracted by the distractors.
very good bonus of the missiles.
Rockwave is now alone.
All alone. No friends. No allies. No distractors.
However, the time is now limited. It's not certain MGW will manage to break through the armor.
He's only 80 points away. Could take it very quickly. Just all up to the missiles. Oh.
Well, Nighthawk can of course fire back.
Ooh. Yeah, MGW is losing points far more consistently than Rockweavers. Oh, Rockweavers, well, yeah. And Rockweave takes it. Well done, Nighthawk.
MGW was very close, but not close enough.
Absolutely. One of the few tournament scenarios where coming down to points actually ends up happening.
Well, sometimes it's more common than you think, especially for kiters and similar.
In a situation where it's like they're like 200, where they're only like 200 or 100 points away from each other, and just on a razor's edge. In
Well,
such a reasonably slow kind of battle scenario.
that is definitely what happens on small budgets, though. Most tournaments run with 16,000 points after all.
Yeah.
We can definitely see the missiles having an impact, but in this case the asteroid blocks are quite resistant to them.
Because there's so much volume, means that the splash of the missiles doesn't really get an opportunity to do a very good job. Ooh, we're down to 40 points apart. 40 points apart. $60 points apart.
Nighthawk has stopped firing his main gun due to the debris.
Oh yes. His point defense guns just keep firing. Ha! Darkness Knight took one of its own asteroids to defense.
Rockweave was ejected.
It was ejected.
The core.
Okay, 1-1. Absolutely. Ooh. Nighthawk is going to start drilling for oil. We'll see if he can hit it soon. Hopefully. MGW's distractors don't seem to play into the situation a lot. They're sitting back there and kind of very relaxed about the situation, aren't they?
However, the debris field that's likely intentionally generated by MGW definitely stops the main cannon of Nighthawk.
And also gives him a lot of adequate time to repair himself, as you see that happening a lot of times. He'll lose that core piece, still have the left or right, and then he can just rapidly repair the left or right with one of those pieces. Pop, 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 pop. Figures himself up very quickly. It's a very powerful combo when he actually gets to face the enemy. Gives him a lot of survivability.
And this allows him to defeat a powerful tank with high DPS like Nighthawk, giving him the win.
Absolutely. The first win to Darkness and I.
Now we have red versus blue.
Absolutely, the battle of the ages, the two colors. Two colors.
Nighthawk is very rapidly being drilled. Giving MGW the win in the brawl.
Absolutely. If Nighthawk had just had one rocket, he might have done really nicely against Devourer. In the end, Devourer just doesn't really have the capability to have a long-range fight.
Well,
Does Devourer have
he
much
does have some
defense?
point defense.
Ah.
Around the core area specifically.
I don't know how much damage it does comparative to the health of the crystal missile, though, so...
Crystalline missiles are apparently quite durable.
The Terran torpedo's got like 40 health or something. It's actually reasonably weak. Compared
Oh,
to
that's high
Terran...
end for vanilla.
Oh, I'm sure, but the thing is that in comparison to, say, a Terran hull block, just a 1x1 square, which is like 250, you know, it's 1/5. It's like less than 1/5 the health. Distractor! I don't know why. It's drifting away at just the right speed to not die. It's so funny to me. I'm sorry.
Imagine all the DPS it
That
has
is
been
no right to be
distracting
that
for
funny.
20 minutes now. Seconds, I mean.
Yeah, if only Rockweave was still alive, eh? That's absurd. The nice thing about MGW's distractor ships is they actually have a little gun on them, so they end up kind of doing a teeny bit of damage. Teensy bit of damage as well, which is good. Okay. Round 2. Pardon me, I'm freezing.
We can see Nighthawk in a very, very bad position right now.
A terrible position, Alex. He's in absolutely terrible position. And he's still going to get out of there reasonably unscathed. Well, I mean, he's going to lose half his thrusters, but he's still alive for now.
Well, his plasma condenser is gone and his core is gone, so it seems like one of the distractors devoured the core.
I think we can pretty much call it as a minute 30. The capital ship is down.
Yes, it seems like this win is secured for MGW.
Let's call it, Alex. They don't seem to want to. They don't seem to want to finish it.
Well, we do have tournaments lately taking points on simply surviving.
I don't think that even if Devourer goes full speed into the Rockweaver's husk, I don't think he'll be able to take back the points.
No,
Sadly.
that's very unlikely.
Here we go. All right. Symphony of Drone versus Darkness Nigh. Do the pylon ships look like flowers to you, Alex? Or like some kind of deep sea fungi? They remind me of plants.
I do not know. They just look odd to me.
Hmm.
Like some weird, very weird asteroid or something, possibly.
I see. MGW is sadly not going to do well here. So let's see.
No, he completely lacks point defense, and his strategy is to 1v1 with strong ships, which he can't do here.
Absolutely. Well, there goes his capital. And now here goes distractors. Go little drones, go little The drones are almost as big as the distractors.
Yes, these distractors are not particularly strong or durable.
I guess he decided that he didn't want to waste the points on making the distractors tougher with a bit more with adequate speed, so he kind of just gave up on them.
That did seem to be effective for his other fights, but in this case, his pure commitment to 1v1 fights is doing him a bad favor.
Yeah, it's not helping him. In this circumstance. Although a few of the missiles are actually hitting the drones at this moment, and kind of every now and then clearing out a little clump of drones, but you know, just not really. Not very effective, sadly.
The missile array and the core are both in danger.
I'm impressed that, well, not impressed. I'm a little bit surprised that MGW is struggling to get through Lyle's troll ships as much as he is. The missiles are really struggling with the combination of drones and the drone firepower. What? What? No! Lie off! Lie off! He wasn't dead. Lie off! Lie off remembered. He's like, oh yes, I'm sorry, I was busy trying to destroy this guy. Let me go back to it. Remember, Lyof, finish what you start. Systematic. Lyof! Well, MGW's distractors are doing their job, aren't they?
Well, there
Fine.
is a critical mass of drones here probably right now.
I agree.
However, one of the distractors were taken out.
Oh wow. Sorry, I'm freezing. I'm yawning from being so cold. Just something I do. I need to get a thicker jacket on. I'm in South Africa and I'm freezing. What's happening?
Yes, is it not supposed to be hot there?
No, absolutely, Alex. It's supposed to be an endless desert of nothing but fire and suffering. It's never supposed to be any cold. No, our winters do get very cold. That's actually just a thing. I'm just not properly wearing enough warm stuff. It's my own fault, really. I like how the drones are creating a ring around the core, less so than a ring around the central mass of the enemy ship.
Yes, well, the core is all that matters in the end.
Indeed, indeed, indeed.
These distractors have a surprising durability.
Absolutely. Unfortunately, the Devourer is just kind of trying to. He's just trying to process his meal at this moment.
Yes, here we can see debris at play again, making it impossible for the Devourer to reach the other pylon, and now the core is gone, ending MGW's chance of victory. Only one distract remaining.
Little blaster trying as hard as he can. Symphony of Drone Laelf takes his first win. I find it unlikely that Devourer is really going to be able to get a kill against Symphony of Drone. It can just keep its range a bit too effectively. And the troll ships is basically just can't be touched. It's a very nice combo, actually. Very, very nice combo. I would have done the same thing, but with a Tinkerell ship.
Well, MGW does have the damage to get through those pylons.
True, if anyone does, it is him. He just needs to make sure that debris doesn't get in his way.
Oh, Lyoff is
Oh
now
no!
exposed,
Oh
but
no!
unfortunately for MGW, he changed targets.
Yeah, unfortunately. Unfortunately, his targeting system started working and decided that no, there is a closer target. Sometimes we just wish that our targeting systems would just fail and stop working, but not always. Well, Devourer's core was about to go pop. There we go.
And the pylon stole back the asteroids it lost due to the Devourer, back from the Devourer. We can see the last distractor attempting to do something.
Well, he's got a single blast and a little anti-missile laser. You can't really do too much, sadly.
And the eventual win ends up with Lyoff. Lyoff is currently leading with 4 wins. And One Gun, also with Lyoff, is leading with 3. In second place. Now we can see the high yield missiles.
Against a proper, nice, squishy target.
Yes, Reds are generally not known for being durable against missiles. Or explosives in general.
But Devourer has finally decided that he would like to shoot MGW, which I believe is a very good decision. Oh, wow. Will his last volley get the command center? Oh.
No, unfortunately for the Darkness Nigh, the asteroids surrounding the core are durable enough to take a few volleys.
Yes, luckily. Alright, Alex, I think we can call it. So we're just gonna have to wait for them to go catch the little distractors that are just miles apart.
Well, we get to see the Devourer's hunting abilities.
Yes, with the little flex thrust super speed combo.
Yes, it has
Flex
definitely
thrust is
allowed
super.
MGW to bring a very massive amount of pure red, despite using very little on thrust. Normally, bringing this much red will cost you a lot more.
You would have had to have stacks upon stacks of thrusters to move this thing. But
Yes,
no.
especially if those asteroids.
Oh, especially with those asteroids. I've built Red Titans before. You'd need like 12 stacks of the blinking massive T3 thrusters. And he gets away with that! You cheeky little cheese. I'm upset, Alex. I'm very upset.
Well, this strategy has definitely been effective, allowing
Yeah.
his threads to even withstand explosives.
Absolutely. Oh, MGW. There goes Darkness Nigh. Unfortunately, Darkness Nigh's distractors are just terrible. They just don't do their jobs. They just kind of float around after the time. I mean, look at that. Done. Over. That's a 30-second battle. That's a 30-second battle. Ridiculous.
The distractors are good at keeping themselves safe, but they don't do much in terms of saving the mothership.
Yeah, sadly they're kind of not adequate, let's say.
No, not at all. They spin around, are technically counted as spinners, I actually guess, even though they got through the rules. But they are so useless either way. This is probably one of the least useful spinners in reassembly history. Spinners usually being the ridiculously overpowered crafts made with infinite durability and/or projectile accuracy.
Infinite velocity, Alex. Infinite velocity.
Yes, if you remember mine spinners or
Oh
torpedo
my goodness.
spinners, those would
Oh,
have removed this craft instantly.
I love mine spinners. They were such a decent use of the mine layer. Otherwise, mine layers just don't get used.
No, they are too niche, and when something actually goes through them, it's not necessarily high enough impact to be worth it. And they cost a lot,
So
so
they do cost a lot, and point defense kind of just sweeps them aside. Since they are stationary, there's pretty much no trouble. I can't remember how much health they have. They've got like 20 health or something silly. Okay, well there we go.
and with that, the champion pool is actually finished.
Ah, fantastic. So Alex, who is our champion, Alex?
Well, it was a very decisive win for Lyolf, as
Hmm.
Lyolf has the first place with Symphony of Drone with 4 wins, then second place with 3 wins, 1 gun, and in third place comes Devour with 2 wins by MGW. So Lyolf takes both top spots, both with gorgeous and very effective designs.
There you go, Lyle. Well done. And of course, well done to you, MGW, and Nighthawk. And I was going to say MGW again, but well, he's already here. So well done to you 3 people for being here. Well done, champions.
Concluding this tournament, we have seen a lot of varied designs, different strategies, utilizing different combos. This experiment has gone very well, and I may look forward to hosting new asteroid tournaments with how well this one has turned out. We have not seen such design variety in a while, I would say.
Absolutely.
Any closing thoughts, Labs?
Ooh, I suppose I'd like to see an asteroid tournament with a little bit of a higher P count, just so we can see a little bit more of an active battlefield. Even the champion tournament, or the champion pool, ended up being a little bit slow, a little bit quiet, unfortunately, because generally they had, one or two weapons or maybe a few missiles. And I'd just be interested to see what a battle would look like if there were more than just one active ship. If someone had actually gone ahead and made a fleet of combat capable ships, I think it would have been be very amusing, very interesting to see that. So I'm excited to see some future asteroid tournaments with a little bit more of a slightly larger roster, but who knows?
That's very nice to hear, and I will see about making that possible. In some interesting way, of course.
Of course.
And with that, this tournament is concluded. Thank you all for your submissions, and thank you especially to Debris and Laps for joining in to co-commentate.
Thank you for hosting, Alex.
See you all next time, and it was
Cheerio.
nice to have you here.